Hi Flosstube, it's Karen, recovering monogamous stitcher. I'm back with Flosstube number 58 and today is Friday, November 22nd, 2024. How are you? It's been a great 2 weeks. I'm so happy to be back and happy to have you back with me. Thank you so much, my loyal subscribers and followers. I appreciate it very much. And if you're new here, you've stumbled across my channel or you've heard it recommended someplace, I appreciate that you stopped by. I hope you see something you like and that you'll become a subscriber and a loyal follower also. Thank you for being here. Okay, first let me give a quick little table of contents. Sorry, I'm wiping my nose. It's cold down here and it makes my nose itchy and runny. So I have an FFO to show you. I don't have any fully finished stitched items. I have a whip, I have a new start, I have a tiny bit of haul, and featured quilt, and talking about plans for cross stitch and plans for quilting. So I hope you'll stay with me. Let's see, from the last video, I have 2 unclaimed gifts. I did not hear from the 2 people that I gave a reminder to last time, so those will stay until the next time I share items. And I got a beautiful thank you card from one of my winners. Look at this, gorgeous. This is from Ginny. Ginny is absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much for your sweet note. You must be a card maker. This is beautiful, people. And she's from Florida, so look at the theme there. 3D starfish, 3D fish, and the beads, and oh, it's just gorgeous. Thank you, Ginny. I appreciate that very much. Okay. Okay, another past issue that I need to revisit is the Fisker circle cutter. And I didn't pass judgment on it the first time I used it. I had trouble with it, and it turned out it was user error. Let me show you what happened. I used it to cut out a 4-inch circle that I needed to do a finish with. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So here's what I learned. When you are, one side says centimeters, one side reads inches. And when you're looking through the plastic, you can't see where to exactly line it up. But if you look at the bottom, Karen, there's a little arrow. So you slide it to whatever, let's see, I did a 4-inch. So I slid it until the 4 was right by that tiny little arrow. And then you tighten this top ring so that arm stays where it is. And then you put it down, push down in the plunger, which I knew to do. Push down in the plunger, and then when you're turning it, do not push on that because, you know, if it's not tight enough, you could get it out of whack. But I used it, it works great, so I do recommend it. I think the regular price on it was like $15, and it was on clearance, and I got an extra price even off the clearance, extra reduction off the clearance price. So for me, it was a great little buy. Oops, put it back in the right way. So if you need to cut circles for finishing, if there aren't any that are available commercially in the exact size you need, this is a great little tool. Okay, so that clears up my user error from that time. Okay, what have I done in the last 2 weeks? I have stitched every day. It's been a great time sewing. Of course, now my days are divided half and half. About half of my time I'm spending on one of my machines, and the other half cross stitch. So quantity wise, I don't get as much cross stitch done, but quantity wise, I'm getting more quilting done, and so I'm happy. I'm finding a good balance, and it's working out really well for me. Also in the last 2 weeks, we had a personal meetup with the Central Kentucky Stitchers in Georgetown, Kentucky. We had a great turnout. I think we had 14 or 15 people there. It was a wonderful group. That's always a good time to get together with friends. And let me see. Oh, and our friend Julia shared with us. Remember last time I talked about perforated paper because I want to stitch Mary Amelia's bird on perforated paper. And I had gotten my perforated paper from Meredith at, oh Meredith, I always stumble over the name of your, Ranch Run, I'll put it in the notes, I'm so sorry. Anyway, Julia brought in some kind of scrap perforated paper, and she demonstrated, see how that part, whoops, this part is colored. She demonstrated how she uses these daubers to spread the color, and she recommended this product. It's a Tim Holtz archival ink, so it's permanent, it won't run. And that's what she demonstrated at our group get together. So I'm feeling quite confident that I can do that, or I can use the spray, and I have some practice perforated paper to try it out on. So I haven't done it yet. I will. I've been busy. You'll see I've been busy. So I appreciate that, Julia. Thank you very much. That was very educational. And I hope I have perforated paper in my future. Also in the last 2 weeks, I had several Zoom meetups. I met with Queen City Sampler Guild on Zoom. One of them fell in this 2 weeks. And I had a Zoom with my StitchCon friends. That was fun. That's always fun to talk to them. Okay, let me show you my book of days. So for the last 2 weeks, okay, first of all, I'll show you. These are my goals for the month. My focus piece, and it's checked off. Check, it's done. I'm done with that. The next is a red sampler, 3 days, not checked off. I have not done the 3 days yet, and I have to do that. And then I had my my Jingle Ball stitch, which is what I've been working on. And then I hoped to do Smith Sampler, and I'll get to that. Now, if you can see the colors, I try to keep a color for a project. So see this light purple? Festive Forest. 15 days. 15 days on Festive Forest. So it's good stitching, it's fun stitching, but boy, I really want to get that done, and I'm not sure how that's going to come out. So we'll see. I hope so. We'll see. Okay, my FFO, I finished Sweet Summer Come Again. That was my focus piece that I finished earlier in the month. And I fully finished the items. I did the pin cushion. I found some fabric in my stash back from when I was making quilts that I wanted to look like they were 200 years old. And anyway, it's a perfect fabric, I think, for this project. I added buttons and a year charm on it and a few little pins. So, and you know what, now that I have it done, I wish I had left the cardboard circle in there, so at least the bottom would be stable. So what I did, of course, you turn it upside down, whoops, you start filling it, you know, through the bottom. And I laid, I had scraps of wool batting, and I did circles of wool batting up at the top. So when I put pins in, it's going into the wool batting. And then put walnut shells in as much as I could. It's still squishy, which is why I say if I had had the cardboard on the bottom, I think it would feel more substantial. But anyway, I did it according to the directions. So that's that part of it. And I also completed the little pin roll, needle roll, as directed, same fabric. And I did adjust it a bit. The pattern had one initial, and I put both my initials and the year there on the end. I don't remember what I took out, probably some small doodad. But there's the needle roll. And again, I stuffed it with scraps of wool batting, and the fabric at the end is the same fabric as the other, and I did the herringbone stitch around on both of them. Okay, so that's my full finish on Sweet Summer Come Again. I think that worked out pretty well. Okay, now that is stitched on 36 count Winter Moon linen. And I used a combination of overdye threads and DMCs. If I had the overdyed, I used it. Otherwise, I substituted a DMC. And this is the project that I was using as my Leanne's Legacy. So now that it's done, I'll choose something else for the next time I stitch on Leanne's Legacy. And I think I have another Blackbird that I want to do. So I'm thinking that would be appropriate for Leanne's Legacy. So that'll be next time I stitch on that. Okay, and I said I have no fully stitched items to show, and I do have a whip. And as I said, 15 days on Festive Forest. There's the finished picture of it. And that picture across the bottom is what the whole piece looks like stitched before it's finished. And I'll show you where I am. So, 15 days, and I'm at page 3 out of 4. So I'm still hoping I can get this done in time. I did have one time, I had to tear out like 2 or 3 hours worth of stitching because I had done it 2 rows too high, and when I found out, anyway, took it out. So that was one little hurdle to get past, but it wasn't major. I mean, it's a nice stitch. I don't know why it's taken me so darn long. I guess it's that when you're stitching, there's a lot of solid stitching, and it does take time. So I got past the stag, and now I'm on to the next band here. I'm stitching this on 32 count lugana. It's called Mint Splash. You can see the little specks of snow. Not too many of them are actually going to show up because every time there's a snow, it gets covered with stitching. And it's very close to DMC 828. And I checked that out because I am planning to, on the bottom, which is a hexagon shape, I'm going to use extra of this Mint Splash to cover that hexagon, and that's going to be my base. I'm going to cross stitch my initials on the bottom and the year 2024, and then of course I'll have to attach it. So I have my DMC 828. I got a couple skeins of that because I'm thinking I will do a tassel at the top. I don't have the kit, so I don't have the ornament that they have that they got in the kit. So this, and when you see it in the skein, it looks brighter than, but when you put a strand on it, or 2 strands, it really matches. This is DMC 828, matches Mint Splash. So that's my whip, guys. That is it. So we're on to, no, and I had a new start. What? And I did not write it in my plans here. Oh, okay, I had a new start. Yesterday was our first snow. I saw snowflakes coming down and went, yay, I can do something different. So I pulled out my snow stitch, and this is the first time I've ever done a snow stitch. Many of you do a snow day stitch. On day that you see snow coming down, you stitch your snow day stitch. So I had chosen, I told you this last time, I think, it's a Brenda Gervais. It's called Jolly Happy Soul. And I got this in a prize package from Sherry Colorado Cross Stitcher when I did a summer camp project, and I got a bag, and this was in it and it was kitted up. And it was kitted with this, can you see the sparkles? This sparkly fabric. I don't even know what the fabric is. I don't know the count. It doesn't really show, does it? In person, it really does. It really sparkles. And I really like the look of it. But again, I have no idea what it is or the count. And at first, when I started stitching the F, I thought, oh, is that really going to show? Well, it really does. It really shows. So I'm happy I stuck with that color. Now, I started to put in the snowman's shoes, and it matched it, like where I was starting to stitch it exactly matched the words, so I may change that. I don't want to do 310 because I think it'll be too stark. These are kind of muted colors. I'll find a blackish that's not black, so I'm going to change out that color. So, but that's how much I got one day. But I did have a Zoom in the evening, so it gave me another couple hours. So anyway, I'm happy with this. So snow day is fun. That was a new start. It is now a whip. Okay, and that one lives in a Amazon plastic bag. Time for me to make more bags, guys. Okay, in my haul. Oh, hold your horses, guys. I got my Classic Colorworks Floss Fix from Fat Quarter Shop this monthly. And that's it. That's the sum total of my haul. Let's see. Now, my plans. In cross stitch, I'm going to continue on Festive Forest. I really would like to get that finished before Jingle Ball starts. I know I have 30 days to watch the video over and over, but I would like to have it finished so that I can be trying to do what she's demonstrating at the time. So if I have a question, I can ask it, because if I'm watching later, I can't ask the question. Not that I couldn't email her, and I'm sure she would answer, but it's just, I want it done anyway before it starts. So I'm going to continue on Festive Forest. I have to stitch 3 days of Anna Oman this month, and I'm going to stick those 3 days in and then continue on Festive Forest. And I had hoped to get to Smith Sampler, but this month, it's not going to happen this month, but you know, maybe next month or whatever. So, okay. And since all of my stitching was on Festive Forest, this is going to be short. I have my featured quilt, which you've seen before, but it is now finished. It's completely finished. It's Tannenbaum by Edita Sitar Laundry Basket Quilts. It is quilted, it's bound, it's labeled, it has the hanging sleeve, and it's ready to be blocked. So I thought I'd give you one more look at this, and we'll talk about how I quilted it. And then I have 2 potential next starts of sewing, and I have them laid out so I can show you, and I need to hem-haw around a little bit and see what I'm going to start. So anyway, let me show you first of all what kind of spurred my idea on quilting it. One of my viewers had sent a picture of her finished, and remember she had appliqued snowflakes on it, and I loved that, but I didn't feel like I could do it justice or have it had a template. I didn't know how to do that, but and as I quilted the main part of the quilt, I was mindful not to get it too overly quilted, which is what I tend to do. I quilt the snot out of my stuff. I just, if any little square, I do the square, and then I want to do a continuous curve or something. I just want to put something in every piece. So I held myself back, and then, so when I had all of my in the ditch stitching done on that, I was still trying to figure out what am I going to quilt and the background. So I went to my Pinterest, and I have one of my boards is called backgrounds. When I see an interesting background fill, I throw it in there. Well, this one was in there, but it wasn't the background that caught my attention. Take a look at this. You see those ornaments? And I had no intention of doing that background. That's very full custom quilting. But those ornaments sparked my idea, and I thought, I can do that, and if I can draw it, I can do it. So I started drawing. I started drawing all kinds of just ideas. Just ideas. This I didn't end up doing, but this stuff I did. And I drew. And I have various size circle rulers, so I did large ones, small ones with all different designs on them. And that one. That one, and I marked which rulers I was going to use. So when I did that, and I knew I could draw those, then I knew I could do it. There was another a video I watch of videos of Adria Good. She's a long arm quilter and posts videos of herself quilting. I don't know how she attaches her camera to her machine, but it's just mesmerizing to watch her quilting. And there was a pattern that she was quilting that had swirls and loops and stars. Stars like these stars, this kind of star, not a 5-pointed star. And I watched it and watched it. I tried to draw it. I couldn't draw it, and I watched it, and I figured, now what direction is she going? How does she know where she's filling in? She just knows these things. And her swirls were beautifully spaced and everything nice, and I tried to draw it, and the swirls were my problem. I couldn't be nicely spaced, and then I didn't know what I was going to do next because it was really random. She didn't do like 2 loops, a star, and a swirl, and 2 loops. I mean, it was random, and she knew what she was doing. So since I couldn't do the swirls, I came upon the idea of doing the ornaments and then doing the loops and the stars and the rest of it. So I'm going to move the camera now. You know, I'm sorry, I just glanced at my notes, and there's one thing I forgot to tell you about Tannenbaum before we take a closer look. Edita Sitar is doing a quilt-along on her blog starting December 1st. And she has fabric packs. If you're interested in this, you have the pattern or you buy the pattern. She has fabric packs if you want to buy the Christmas colorway, or there's a scrappy colorway, or if you're going to do scrappy, your own scraps. But you might want to check that out. So that's, okay. that's that. So I'm going to disconnect the camera. We'll take a closer look at my quilting, and then I'll show you the other things that I'm looking at and getting ready to start a big quilting mess, cutting out and all that stuff. So hang on. Okay, don't get queasy. I don't want to accidentally touch a button here, turn it off. Okay. Okay, Tenenbaum. Okay, so let's see. Are they showing up? And I did all sizes. I did large, medium, small. And then filled in with loops and stars around the rest of the areas. I did swirls on the border. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And these, I'm seeing one, okay, this like, so when I did this longer, pointy, fancier ornament, I did a bow at the top of each of those. And sometimes I had the ornaments just sort of up in the tree, and then other times I had, I don't want to touch something here, I put a cap on it and had it hanging down, like here, whoops, like here. Just random, changing it up so they all look different. I repeated some familiar quilting fillers that I normally use, and they looked quite beautiful on the ornaments actually. And then in the main, I did not, as I said, I did not do continuous curve in everything. It was pretty much stitch in the ditch, left squares open. These I left open as 9 patches. So it's still puffy. I had an 80-20 batting on the back, and I put a wool bat on top, which I like to do. Makes it nice and puffy. Let's see, in the baskets, the one that didn't have flowers, I put feathers in. Otherwise, it was pretty much stitch in the ditch in the main part of the quilt. In the applique, I did outline quilting, which is like right up against the applique, and then I did echo, and I kept myself from filling other stuff in, which I wanted to do, but no, keep it loose, keep it puffy. So that's what I did. So there's Tenenbaum, all quilted, ready to go. So now it'll go in the quilt closet until it's time for me to block it for the state fair. That'll be my holiday entry for next year. And you notice that still hanging on the wall behind it is the vice versa quilt. I've not worked out a complete quilting plan on it, but I have noticed some intersections that are problematic, and I'm going to have to do some taking apart to fix some intersections. Now let me see if I can see one here that I can show you. Okay, on this block, see that one and that one? They will not pass muster. And then there were another couple blocks that had some, okay. This one, a judge would knock me down for that. So I will do some little taking apart and just fixing those seams as little as I have to, but they do need to get straightened up. So now I'm gonna take you to my cutting table, and I have my boxes with my assembled projects, my next 2 potential projects. I'm trying to see what I'm showing you here. Okay, the first one that I'm considering is, Dresden Bloom. It's laundry basket quilts again. It's Edita Sitar. I have a craftsy class on this project, and I intend to do this. It will be over 300-inch perimeter, so it will count as the large quilt category at the state fair. And it'll fit nicely on a bed, so my kids need to step up. My closet's getting really full. So here are the boxes I have assembled my fabrics in. I have my backing fabric in here and my sashing fabric. Let me show you what I've gathered. Oops, oh, did I just break my box? No, I didn't. I snapped it open. Okay. Okay, and then, I don't want this to flop down. I have the templates I need to cut the shapes. That's another, I think this was a sashing background. That's my background fabric. And I've gathered all kinds of, this is a scrappy quilt. So I've gathered all kinds of colorways from my stash. And these flowers, the Dresden blooms call for cheddar. Each of them to have cheddar in the quarter circle. That's the center of the flower. So I've gathered some cheddar. I've gathered some blues and brights, and I've got a couple Fat 8 from Laundry Basket, so that I have some to fill in. So I want it to all go together, but I want it to still look scrappy. And I got some solids here that'll blend with them too. So I have the fabric I need, and I just need to get going on it. But once I get going, it's going to be like a fabric explosion in the quilt room, because I'll have to have the ironing. Oops, I have to have the ironing surface. I have to have my cutting surface, my sewing surface. Sorry, let me just get this back where it belongs. Okay. And then the other one I'm considering getting going on is this one called, Polka Dot Bikini. The designer is Sharon McConnell. She is Color Girl is her company, and this is called Polka Dot Bikini. I have loved this since I first saw this. And I don't know if you can see the quilting in that. I plan to copy that as much as I can, if I can figure it out from this picture what was done, but it is just gorgeous. I love this one. And I'm going to have to make templates for this, and they say to copy the templates on heavy tag board or poster board, but this I got at the dollar store two cutting mats for $1. And I think they're pretty chintzy for cutting mats, but for template plastic, they're really nice. So I'm thinking I can cut my templates from this plastic. It was cheap enough, so if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But that's my plan for the templates. And I got the fabric pack. At the time I got the pattern, I got the fabric pack, so it will look, I can recreate that quilt easily. I love getting fabric packs so I don't have to shop, because I never seem to find all the stuff I want, so love that. So those are two potential starts whenever I'm ready to start cutting in. Sorry, let me get this in here. So that's how I try to keep my projects together. So that's my plans. So I have stitching plans and I have quilting plans, and I will be back with my next video on December 6th, which is the day the Jingle Ball starts in the evening, but I'll of course record earlier in the day. And I hope to see you then, and I don't know if I'm going to have time to get some giveaway stuff ready, but stop by and see. I hope so. So I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks, Flosstube. Bye-bye.